New moon, January 29th at 4:36 a.m. Pacific Standard Time at 9 degrees Aquarius, 56 minutes. Let's just call it 10 degrees. Anyway, as with all new moons, this is the time to set your intentions for the month. And with Aquarius, think innovative ideas, uh, technology. Do you need to buy a new phone? Do you need to buy a new computer? And also humanitarianism. Who can you help out in the broader scheme? Now, this is a fixed air sign, so your ideas may be a little stubborn, or maybe determined is a better word for it. Now, to add a little punch to this new moon, just a few hours before, Mercury is going to conjunct Pluto. Now, this is a real signature for the detective, wanting to dig deep and find out the truth, Aquarius. Now, Aquarius also rules cults, so Mercury and Pluto could also mean we're hearing a lot of the line from the cult coming out into the news too. Now, this new moon is also going to be trine Jupiter. So the moon will trine it perfect later that day on the 29th, and then on the 30th, the sun will perfect. But what this is with Jupiter, this is going to give us just a little boost of optimism. We've kind of been going through some hard times these days, so a little joy in our life, that kind of thing. And it can also help us to start thinking about a new paradigm, a new way of thinking about things, a new consciousness. So just very helpful. Now, the huge biggie that I want to talk about in this one is that Uranus goes direct on January 30th at 23 degrees Taurus. So this is part of that wobble I was telling you about for 2025. So it's been at 23, Uranus has been at 23 degrees since like December 20th, and it won't get to 24 until March 13th or something like that. So it's moving really, really slow right now. So Uranus didn't love it in Taurus, but now that it's direct, it's going to go straight into Gemini, and my goodness, we're going to get tons of new ideas and things like that too. So anyway, I'll talk about that more in the expanded version. So I hope to see you there, and if I don't, hopefully I'll see you next week when we're going to talk about Jupiter going direct in Gemini. So anyway, everybody, thanks a lot, and see you next time. Bye! Mwah, mwah, mwah. Welcome back to the Magical Mystery School, and thank you so much for likes and subscribes and comments, even little emojis. All help my channel, so I super appreciate it. So, how did you guys all survive the Sun and Pluto and Mars opposed Pluto? I hope you did okay. I could feel it when it got over, that it was sort of like January 22nd or so. I felt better, but anyway, and also I wanted to remind you that Venus is trine Mars on the 25th, so that's still yet to come. But I talked about it last week because I wanted to give you a chance to, if you did want to plan a weekend away or something like that, that you would know that this good weekend was coming up. And there's some fun stuff for the 26th too that I'll get into later. And I realized I never said anything about what Venus and Mars are all about. That's kind of, doesn't everybody know that? But Venus, of course, is our feminine energy, and Mars is our masculine energy, and they are the great lovers of the zodiac. So when we get that trine going on, we only get it twice a year. So let's take advantage of that and have some fun with it, with a friend, or just on your own. Have a good time with yourself, your own masculine and feminine energy. Okay, so I think I'll put you on pause and I'll bring the camera down and we'll look at the wheel and we'll see what's in store here in a little more detail. All right, see you in a second. Alrighty, so here we start. We're not done with Pluto yet, so here comes Pluto. Like I said, it's kind of like the base in the background here. Sitting right here at almost two degrees of Aquarius, so right at the very, very beginning of Aquarius. And we've had Venus swing through here She came in December 7th and went into Aquarius and hit Pluto, and she's made it all the way over here to Pisces in the meantime. So that was December 7th. And then the sun, and I left the moon on here because since it's a new moon, the sun came in on January 19th and through that 21st period and conjuncted the Pluto, went into Aquarius and conjunct Pluto. Now it's basically like at 10 degrees because that's what the new moon is. And now we've got Mercury coming through. So it's coming through and it's gone into Aquarius and it's hitting Pluto. Let's see, it hits Pluto on the it goes into Aquarius on the 27th of January and hits Pluto on the 29th. So some pretty exciting stuff going on here for sure. And what this is telling me is, yes, we've gone through, this is Venus, this is our emotional nature, our loving nature. The sun is our will, our who we are consciously, our conscious personality. And now we've got Mercury here, who's our mental capabilities, our thinking. So think back and see, are you rehashing anything from the beginning of December, from an emotional thing, or something that you've been thinking about, that, you know, part of your personality, your conscious thinking? And now we've got Mercury here to really process all this and to really help us put all this together. So, so enjoy that while you can. And remember that this, so just think back and see if there's anything else you need to think about. Now, during this January 27th, 29th, when we've got Mercury going through here, expect to see some interesting headlines, maybe some information's coming out. Remember, I was saying this Mercury-Pluto is kind of the detective, especially in Aquarius. Aquarius wants the truth. That maybe there might be some cool headlines coming out, or at least we'll be talking about something. Okay. Now the other biggie that I wanted to talk about in more detail was, of course, Uranus here. Because Uranus is one of our outer planets, and it literally takes 84 years to get all the way around the wheel here. And it spends 7 years in each sign as it goes around. So it's been in Taurus for a while. I think it was 2018 that it went into Taurus. So now Uranus is turning direct on, let's see, what day was it? Oh, on January 30th that it turns direct. And when it turns direct this time, it's headed straight for Gemini. Now, I wanted to give you this. I wrote this up just to give you a little bit more detail on that, on this cycle of Uranus right now. So you're welcome to take a screenshot of this. But January 30th, that's when Uranus is going to go direct at 23 degrees Taurus. Then on July 7th is when it's going to hit, it's going to go into Gemini. So things are going to start speeding up for sure when this happens. September 6th, Uranus is going to go retrograde at just 1 degree Gemini in 28 minutes. And then on its retrograde motion, it's going to go back into Taurus on November 7th. Now, this is all in 2025. And then on February 3rd at 2026, it's going to go direct again at 27 degrees Taurus. And then on April 27th, it's going to be, Uranus is going to go into Gemini for good, or for the next 6-7 years for sure. So just be aware of that's just so you know that cycle is happening, is coming on. And you know, Uranus actually, it's been at 23 degrees Taurus since December 20th and won't move to 24 degrees until the middle of March. I think it's March 13th. So that's 3 months that it's sitting at 23 degrees. So again, anybody who's got fixed planets or rising sign or midheaven, if you've got anything, anywhere near that 23 degrees, I would say 18 to 28 degrees definitely of Taurus, you're going to be feeling this. So that's going to be Scorpio, Aquarius, and Leo are the other 4 fixed signs, or the other fixed signs there. Okay, let's see. All right, so the other thing I wanted to mention now is that Uranus hasn't been that happy in Taurus. I mean, like I mentioned in the short, it did help us, kind of break up our job routine with COVID and that kind of thing. But this is fixed Earth. And Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius, which is fixed air. So we've got just a real mental planet here that's kind of been, shuffling along in Taurus, But boy, when it hits Gemini, like I said, just get ready. The most amazing things are going to start to, we're going to find, I think we're going to get new research on not only just technology, but health issues, and the internet. By the time Uranus gets through Gemini and gets into Cancer, and I think that's in 2032, the internet is going to look really, really different to us. So just be aware of that too. Okay, and it's just, and I think too, when Uranus gets into Gemini, it's just going to even feel like time has sped up. Okay, now let's see. The other thing I wanted to mention was, oh, and I did want to show you Jupiter down here in Gemini, and that's that air trine that we had for the new moon. So I did want to show you that. But the other thing I wanted to mention too is that with Venus and Pisces right here, with Uranus and Taurus, we've got a sextile going on here. And that sextile is exact on January 26th. So that's that Sunday after that fun Venus-Mars trine. So that's water, so that's why that's a trine. And now this is that water-Earth, so that's the sextile. And Uranus is going to be sextiling Mars too. And, eccentric is the nice word, a little exotic, a little unusual with Venus and Mars sextiling Uranus. So it could be a different kind of weekend, so be prepared for that. And the other thing that's kind of cool too is that we have Neptune and Saturn both getting ready. They're in Pisces right now, but they're right on the edge of going into Aries. And actually, I wanted to show you another graphic that hopefully maybe you can use here sometime. Now, this is from the Llewellyn calendar. And if anybody has any other astrology calendars they want to tell us about in the comments, I used a calendar for literally decades, and the guy quit making them a few years ago, so I've had to kind of switch over. But I still like the Llewellyn calendar. But if there's one that you think is better, please let us know. But in that calendar, they have this graphic for planetary motions. And here you can see, well, we'll start up here with Pluto. Let's see if I can get this. Good, okay. And what it's telling us is that Pluto is right there in Aquarius, right? And it's going forward, then it's going to go retrograde, and then it's going to go forward. I think I mentioned last time that Pluto, I think, gets up to 4 degrees Aquarius, but by December 2025, it'll be back to 2 degrees. So there's a real, as you can see, it barely moves at all. And then now here's Uranus, and it was retrograde right in January, but now it's going direct and going to just put its nose into Gemini and then back into Taurus. And now here's Saturn and Neptune, and you can just see it so clearly. Both of these planets are kind of running together in tandem, but see how they just go across that 0 Aries point, which is the beginning of everything in astrology. But both of them put their nose into Aries and then go back into Pisces. So that's what I meant by that. This, to me, I'm calling this the year of the great wobble, because all four of these planets are kind of putting their nose into another planet and then back. Now, Pluto's already in Aquarius. It was wobbling back in 2024. But you can see now Jupiter this is very common type motion for Jupiter, that it pretty much in 1 year moves a 30-degree sign, and you can see with its retrograde that it's moving about 30 degrees. And then here's that Mars retrograde. I'm trying, maybe it's just me wiggling. We started out the year with the Mars retrograde, but look how once it gets going, whoosh, off it goes. Okay, so by December, it's all the way over here to Capricorn. So anyway, this is the kind of wheel I just get fascinated. I can sit there and ponder this kind of thing forever. So anyway, I hope you enjoy that too. And just to let you know, let's see if I can get this in some sort of focus here. All right. Well, they have this nice chart. And now there's my bells. Well, I think that's probably about as good as I'm going to get it. But anyway, I'll just tell you what it is. It has all the planets, and I'm sorry, my yellow highlighting was supposed to make things clearer, but I don't think it did. And it gives all the station retrograde, station direct. There we go. And it gives all the station points, the date, and then the degrees, the position that it's in, and then the time, whether it's Eastern or Pacific. So anyway, that's a cool little chart too to have. All right, now that the bells are done, the bells of Auntie of the Magical Mystery School's in session. Anyway, so that's a cool thing too. Now I mentioned the Venus and this sextiling, which I think is really, really cool. The other thing too I want you to put just in the back of your mind, because this is going to start this year and then become more and more powerful even in 2026. But Uranus, when it does get into Gemini, it's going to be trine Pluto. Okay, now this year it's going to get just within a few minutes, but it's not exactly going to we call it perfect or become exact, that Uranus isn't going to exactly trine Pluto. But again, isn't that wonderful that we're getting a trine from these two planets? Especially when they're moving signs like that. I think that can be really, really amazing. And then we've also, with Neptune and Saturn just going into Aries, remember we talked about this last time, air, fire, fire, air, okay? We're going to have a sextile from Neptune and Saturn to these two planets. So, I'm a little concerned about, Uranus and Gemini, that things are just going to go crazy, that, our brains, the AI all over the place and that kind of thing. But I'm really liking this. Saturn kind of puts the brakes on things and kind of slows things down. So I think this is going to be really good. And with Neptune, Neptune's kind of like our most spiritual planet. So with it also sextiling these two biggies, and Neptune is an outer planet too. It's a biggie itself, and Saturn's no small thing. If you've had your Saturn return, you know that Saturn is nobody to blow off. That's for sure. So keep that in mind too, that we've got some really nice transits coming up here in the future. And I think last but not least, I talked about Venus sextiling Uranus. I also want to mention Mercury is going to sextile Neptune also on that January 26th. So on the 25th, we're going to have this nice trine with Venus to Mars, and then we're going to have Venus sextiling Uranus and Mercury sextiling Neptune. So, you know, really do something different. Do something kind of spiritual for yourself. Plan something. I don't know if it's going to a museum or if it's going to some very inspirational concert or something like that, but do something different. I think one of the things I think I'm going to do is Mercury is visible right now just before dawn, so I'm going to look and see if I can find it, because eventually, just here in a few days, Mercury's going to get kind of swallowed up by the light of the sun, and then it's going to pop out here on the other side and become an evening star. So, but right now it's a morning star. So I'm gonna look for that for sure. Okay, so as usual, I think I've gone on long enough, and I've got tons more things I'd like to tell you about, but I'll paste those as we go here. And again, thank you very much for being part of the Magical Mystery School. And just remember, from there to here, from here to there, funny things are everywhere. Okay, bye!